Hey everyone, welcome to AfterTaste and welcome to our first Halloween movie roundtable. I'm here today with Drake Kemp. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, man. How you doing?
Doing good. You excited about this movie?
Absolutely.
Right. And then Chelsea Rodriguez, you're always here with me. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing great. Now that small talk's out of the way, we're talking about the movie, the 2016 South Korean release of Train to Busan. Is that how it's pronounced, Busan?
I think it's Busan,
Busan.
but you can't quote me on that because I'm going to mess up all of these.
We're putting this out there right now. We are not South Korean. We've never been to South Korea, and we probably will screw up some of these names. But the problem is this film was so great that I find it disrespectful that we're going to screw it up. So we're putting that out there right now. But Train to Busan was a South Korean release in 2016. It actually shattered a lot of records. I was just looking it up. It made the most money in its first week of pretty much any release in South Korea. So people love this film. Me and Chelsea, we watched this like last week for the first time on Netflix. Directed by Sang-Hong Young. It's got a lot of actors that are well known in South Korea. Obviously, we haven't experienced a lot of them here. One of the actors, which was the guy who kind of can't pronounce the names.
You know him.
He was a young. No, that was the bad guy. Anyway, I'll figure it out. But he's been. There's been a couple. This guy.
Apparently, his American stage name is Don Lee. I think.
Don Lee. Okay, he's been in quite a few movies here that might be. He's been in the movie.
Wait. Are we talking Mr. Muscles?
Yeah,
Muscles.
Muscles.
Yes.
He's my favorite character.
He was my favorite character as well.
Mr. Muscles.
But just to kind of talk a little bit about the film, this is the story of a father who's kind of a not so great dad. You kind of get that feel at the beginning of the movie. And his daughter who just kind of doesn't want to be there. He buys her a Wii for the second Christmas in a row, it looks like. It was just a real bummer. I had... As somebody who had my dad buy me the same exact CD Walkman 2 years in a row, I have the same feel, and I understand where they were going. Sorry if that went deep. Sorry, Dad. Be better next time. But so she just wants to go see her mother in Busan. I'm going to go with Busan as the Busan or Busan?
Change it every time.
Great. Basin. And so... he finally breaks down. He says, all right, we're going to go see your mom. It's your birthday. And so they get on this train, and then stuff happens, right?
Some real
stuff happens.
Yeah.
They're on the train there, and it's kind of like the trope in every zombie movie I've ever watched. You see the little tiny details that they massively put in there. It is like, oh, something's going wrong with the social aspect of it. People are getting sick. Oh, here comes ambulance. Here comes things. Something's going wrong. It's little tiny things. And this movie didn't beat you over the head with it, which I really enjoyed as well.
Should we talk about the pre-credits thing, like the zombie deer? Did you guys forget about that? Because I forgot about it until the rewatch.
It's one that I overlooked. Here's the thing. Oh, and by the way, guys, this is going to have spoilers in it. It's a 2016 film. Go watch it. Available right now on Netflix. Netflix changes all the time. Depends on when you watch this, but go check it out. It's real good. But yeah, the opening scene, you can't really tell where the film's going at that point. You can't tell.
I was hoping for so many more zombie animals.
Yeah, you couldn't tell if this was gonna go.
Like a Zombievers?
Yeah, you couldn't tell if it's going to be Zombievers. Have you guys seen Zombievers yet?
I haven't.
Zombie Beavers. That's exactly what you think it is.
Yeah.
And you can't tell if it's going to go that way with it or if it's going to go a well-made movie. Obviously, you can't tell because this guy's driving, hits a deer dies. And then he does like a weird like eight-legged freaks looking thing. And like jumps right back up. It was intense.
That effect is super cool though. Like if I remember correctly, one of the zombies in like the second train station does the same thing, and it looks so intimidating.
Yeah, it is scary. Like I said, it is scary. At that point, it was hard to tell though, like if it was gonna go campy or if it was gonna be.
Yeah.
And it surprised me because the movie didn't go the way of Zombievers, and I could tell that pretty much right away by
this podcast is endorsed by or sponsored by
Zombievers. Yes, Man, I don't remember a damn thing about that movie except
Get the
that I
Blu-ray.
watched it. No, it's not on Blu-ray. I promise you that. No, they wouldn't even put that in the $5 DVD bin at the Walmart.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could tell by the gravitas of the plot and the acting of it. It was so above and beyond most zombie movies out there.
Mm-hmm.
It had the more of a feel of the actors and the plot of like the beginning of like 28 weeks later or days later, that type of plot development, whereas you see movies like I don't know, like Day of the Dead, like the remake and stuff like that.
Yeah.
B-list zombie movies that don't put that character plot
Like the stuff like you see on like the Sci-Fi Channel.
yeah, the FearNet stuff.
Yeah,
There are some elements like that were a little cheesy, a little campy, and I think like at least a few of them kind of felt all right just because like maybe it was like a cultural thing, like the baseball team, like the whole baseball team sequences, I guess.
Yeah, they were around. Yeah.
Those the relationships with them like very early on were really camp, like not campy, but it very much felt like almost like schlocky 80s nonsense. The way that
it was mixed a little bit of the 80s schlocky nonsense with like a Three Stooges almost. It was a weird feel.
Yeah.
That's what I'm like trying to get at was that like that whole setup was just kind of there because it had to be, and it seemed like the movie was just like, all right, look, movie's gotta we gotta establish this.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. None of these people are gonna be alive by the end of this. Don't even pay attention.
Well, what are you talking about? That one guy makes it pretty far.
He made it pretty far.
Yeah.
It's pretty far. He would have made it farther if he didn't have love on his side. So we're just throwing that out there. Just leave her. She was already infected.
Yeah.
Go watch the movie.
That's like that cultural thing I'm telling you about.
Yeah.
Like there's like you see that a lot in like anime where like a main character will do something that like you and I definitely wouldn't do.
No.
Yeah.
But like for the sake of, honor or love or whatever other pillar, he's going to do that thing even if it sucks or makes things harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like obviously there's a lot of that in like Western culture too, but
Yeah.
it just like there was like a rigidity to it that you don't see often in our slasher movies.
No, it's definitely something that somebody from the Western audience, we don't see that in a lot of films, but it felt okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They obviously they have a certain way of making things over there that we are not accustomed to, but it's almost refreshing when we see it.
Yeah.
Right? But I feel like this movie obviously had its campy moments and stuff like that, but more than anything, I think it earned the right to do those. More
Absolutely.
than anything. Like, if this movie sucked, it would have just been camp. And they could just point, well, it's a campy zombie movie. But this movie was so well made that, I mean, it earned every single cheesy moment. It all those, the trope of guy you can't kill. It's in every zombie movie, right?
Yeah.
But they earned the right to have those characters, and they worked so well. You couldn't kill that villain guy, right? He just finds his way into a bathroom somewhere.
I just wanted him so bad to get his comeuppance so early.
Should we do like a more comprehensive blow by blow, or do we just want to get like freeform?
I don't know.
Do we just want to talk about whatever we liked?
I mean, it's up to. I mean,
because dude locked in the bathroom was a super fun scene.
Yeah.
Especially with the way he got out.
Oh, when he pushed that one guy, it's like the coast is clear.
The coast is clear.
Whoosh.
Yeah,
like,
but
yep.
basically, for the people who haven't seen this film, we're gonna freestyle it a little bit. There's gonna be heavy spoilers, but they're on this train ride to Busan. Things start going south. They're watching the news, and then violence breaks out in one of the furthest front. That's actually a big plot point of the movie. One of the furthest front train, and then they sort of isolate it by realizing these zombies are kind of dumb. They can't really see in the dark and stuff. So, and it's the first time ever in the history of cinema that paper mache has saved anybody. So
That was good. Just how quickly she thought of
hold
that.
on, newspaper. Good stuff. We're fine. So from there, the conductor tries to find a safe port to stop in, and communications isn't great with the first stop. They think it's fine. The second stop, they think that it's actually a military stop, which at one point it probably was.
It looked like it definitely was for a while.
For a little while. And then it ends up that Busan is it's their final destination. So it's kind of got the level feel of a video game trope a little bit, where you go from one spot to the one spot to the one spot. But each spot has a certain different aspect to it. So the first stop was at the one that had the baseball team issue, right? Where they basically were like, everybody off, this is a good spot.
Yeah, that's when they were going down the escalators.
It's where they're going down. No, that was the train. That was the military.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah.
I can't remember. Was there only 2 stops that they had? It was the military stop and then...
Yeah, because I think that, like...
Oh, God.
You all right?
Oh, well, it's fine. All right, we're good.
Yeah. I only remember the and granted, you guys saw it more recently than I did, but the military zone was the only like other stop that I remember concretely. And then the stop past that was the one where their train just got derailed.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, I think that's right. But yeah, so there were like 2 different groups in that sequence. Like everyone kind of like split up, or then got split up. So yeah. Let's talk about that spooky guy.
Which one?
The Doomsdayer guy who just survived the whole movie.
Oh,
for the most
yeah.
part. He just limped along saying like a certain line that didn't actually ever once like correlate to a plot point. He was just a Doomsdayer that somehow got lucky the whole time.
Every movie needs like the guy who has like all the cryptic lines and all the he kind of served a double purpose. He was the he was like the gas station guy from Cabin in the Woods, and he was also the drifter who nobody trusts, who ends up being like the most ride or die of anyone.
Yeah.
He was great.
He was, I really liked him. I just like the fact though that it's like, really, like he didn't like nothing he was. It's not like they brought back a line that he was saying.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, this is pivotal to the plot. He's just a dude out of his mind.
Yeah.
He just got traumatized by watching like an entire town get eaten by a zombie.
You could have replaced all of his dialogue with like somebody just giving a dry read synopsis of the movie Bright, and it would have been like just as appropriate.
I hate Joel Egerton's face, even in ogre form. Either way, we're gonna continue with this topic. Yeah, but I enjoyed that character. His ending was also very, very heroic. Like, just the fact that he didn't have much, like, except for he was a drifter stating lines and somehow didn't get eaten, even though he's another one of the invincible characters who get, like, in one of the scenes where they were crossing the train to save the survivors, he just, like, fell down and cowered in, the fetal position and then just, all right, well, I guess we're going to sink him somehow. I guess he's going to do that. And we're all like, all right, he's going to die. That's fine.
Yeah.
And then he stepped on a Sprite can. That bastard. It's his fault. So I'm getting sidetracked. Sorry. This movie had a lot to it.
There was a lot going on, and all of it worked. Almost all of it worked incredibly well.
Yeah, the scene at the military zone was very artistically shot as well. They used the mirrors, they used the glass, they used the angles of the escalator scene very well. I especially liked it because it had a panning shot down towards the end, and then you start to see the zombies emerge.
Yeah, I thought that was really good.
Artistically, that was very well done.
It was super cool.
And then I like the line. I don't think they said it, but I think one of us was like, oh no, they're going to have to run doubly fast. Running up the escalator.
Go back up the
And there was only one person that was smart enough to save them and throw them over the edge so they didn't have to run doubly fast.
Yeah.
It was Hulk Man.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, unfortunately.
Yeah, because he was trying to save his pregnant wife.
Yeah, his name is Sanghua. Like, he needs to be heard more. He was my favorite. He was one of my favorite parts of this movie.
I mean,
far and above most things.
Like when they had like that big dramatic suit up scene, baseball kid gets his bat and our main character gets his shield. This dude's just like, nah, man, I got my mitts. Let's do this.
Yeah. Taping up my arms. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want.
He fell straight out of the Yakuza video games. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. He was a driving force for the character development, the plot. He was awesome, man.
Yeah.
Like he was amazing with his wife and the kid relationship there, building the plot between a father and a daughter, letting her know there is still hope, and kind of being the binding bond between the father and the daughter throughout the film.
he was also kind of like the early moral center of the survivors, because for the longest time our protagonist was still just
he was
kind
very
of
passive.
He was both passive, and he was like a scummy money man. Like
Yeah.
like that was his background, and that was it. And we've got this guy who really literally just dresses him down like you're bad for all of these
You're a
reasons.
bad dude. And I kind of saw him as like the audience point of view character as well.
Yeah.
'Cause everybody kind of saw themselves as that guy, right?
Yeah.
Cool, suave, know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know right from wrong.
Punching zombies.
You know, punching
We
zombies.
can look.
He's a video game character.
We can only hope that we all have like the inner resolve to lift a zombie and use it to hold other zombies at bay.
Oh my god. This movie has the gall. Obviously, this movie goes in and out of believability when it comes to some things, but they have the gall to kill a character that's so... I love this character.
Yeah.
And I thought this character
That's
was
why he
gonna...
had to
I
go,
know,
you
that's
know,
the
man.
problem. That is the problem with that. But he went out with such, like... Man, it was great. Unfortunately, you know... God, I'm missing an entire part of this.
Finally
movie.
giving his daughter a name,
Yeah.
telling our protagonist to take care of everybody, and then just eating that sacrifice was so dope. Like we've seen the noble sacrifice thousands of times, but I've never been so actually hyped while watching it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I was stoked.
God, it was Rob Van Dam frog splash from the top of Hell in a Cell, Hell in a Cell 07. But I will say that, just to go back a little bit to what happened with the plot of the story, basically they get off the military zone, they get back on, and the survivors are scattered at this point. They couldn't get back on the train.
Yeah.
All in the same spot. Some people, most of the people anybody cared about, the pregnant one, the kid, the doomsdayer, and the conductor's bitch. I forget what his name was. The villainous guy who was like the corporate guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Who had like the conductor guy who was like saying okay and then making all the decisions.
Yeah.
Right. I forget.
Because they were like on the train. Because then like
they were all together in that bathroom. Right.
There was like conductor was a toady, but then there was like I don't know if that guy was like an assistant to someone or something. Like
I think he was like the co-conductor. He was like the guy that made all the. He's like the.
Oh no, he was just like an usher, like a ticket taker. Like he was
Why
straight
did
up
he get
just
to make
walking.
all the decisions then?
I don't remember.
He was a heavy part of the movie. It's like he'd say something, he's like, make it happen, and he would like try to make it happen.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we're talking about someone
He's
else.
like the blue suited guy is what I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah, like that dude.
He was
I
like the
think was
Mater D almost.
Mater
Like,
D.
of the train. Yeah, so they get separated, and then basically the villain character of this movie, he is a billionaire corporate-esque guy who just wants to survive, which is another trope in most horror films out there.
Yeah, only thinks about himself.
Only thinks about himself, and throughout the movie, they do a really good job of making you just want to punch this guy in the face.
Yes. It grows.
Which is great.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes from a character where you just kind of... When I first saw him, I just thought he was going to be like just one of those crappy corporate characters. I didn't even see him as a villain right away.
Yeah.
And the cool part of the movie is you start to build. You start to see the build of like, wow, this guy is starting to get sway. And it's kind of like the mob mentality. You can see the mob mentality build up in this one character's eyes.
Yeah.
And you can see he's getting power, slowly getting power. And the writing of the film was so strong that at the end, you wanted to punch him in the face and punch everybody else in the face.
That followed
Which
him.
leads me to this point right now where I say don't ever trust the nice old woman because...
Okay, did either of you play Dead Rising, like the first one?
No.
I played like the first half of it. I really never got into Dead
So-
Rising, unfortunately.
So when the main character gets to the mall. It's already secured. They've locked it off or whatever. And the thing that breaks containment is an old lady seeing her dog outside and bull rushing the doors.
I think I remember that actually. Yeah, I remember being really mad. I think that's why I stopped.
That scene. I couldn't stop thinking about that moment in the train to Buscemi sequence. Yeah. But obviously, the Train to Busan version was the Dead Rising one's played for laughs. The Train to Busan one is really touching, way more than it deserved to be.
Yeah. But to get to this point, basically, we did talk about it. They do go full Avengers Assemble. Yeah. The cool guy, the douchey dad, and the baseball player, they decide we're gonna suit up. Basically, they have to get from point A, which is on train cart, I believe, number 4 or 5, to train cart number 3 or 2, which is, I don't know exactly how far, but it's a video game leveling system in itself. It's there, where they have to go from one cart to one cart to one cart, and they figure out along the way that these zombies, I guess, I don't know if it's that they can't see in darkness, because
it seemed like they just went dormant.
They get disoriented or something, whereas obviously they could still see, but they went all freaky. They started shaking and stuff. Mm-hmm. They basically reacted to sounds, and they found that out, and they have a whole amazing sequence where they're just body slamming guys. Well, the cool guy's just body slamming guys.
Picking him up.
The baseball player who's wielding a bat that's definitely not a real baseball bat.
Should have been a metal bat.
I don't know what they used in the Korean baseball leagues, but it definitely looked like a rubber bat a little bit. It wasn't proper size. You were never gonna hit a baseball.
I know, it was this big.
And then the other guy is just pushing people around and punching people.
Didn't he a shield of some kind?
He was the shield guy.
He had a shield and I think maybe a baton at one point.
Yeah, so
he picked up the bat when the kid dropped it.
Panicked and stuff. He picked up the bat when he saw his baseball buddy's team. Which was also rough.
That scene is so good. Yeah. When Mr. Muscles sees that kid is totally not going to be able to handle this, he just silently pushes past him, don't worry about it, kid, we got this. I already had so much respect for Muscles, but God.
Yeah, just get out of the way. We'll take care of this. And,
don't worry, kid.
I mean, ultimately he came to and he helped out a little bit, but only after they were all on the brink of dying, basically. Yeah. And so they get all the way there, and they do get to the survivors, amazingly somehow, by figuring out these little tricks of the trade with the zombies. They, at one point, take cell phones and throw it over there, and they call the cell phone. That really funny part where they talk about the guy's ringtone in the bathroom.
I don't know how to change it.
I don't know how to change it, but they get them, and they start to come back. They've figured out by now. And another thing, this movie is so well thought out. There was one point where there was a zombie crawling on the luggage carrier. Mm-hmm. I was like, wow, that's so weird. Why would they do that? And then later in the movie, it's like, they crawl on the carrier to get out. So they place that in your head as a possibility. Just a small thing there. Mm-hmm. But as there are
a lot of clever moments.
There's a lot of cool moments in the movie. Anyway, so they start coming back. They're basically running for their lives now because an entire 3 trains full of zombies are aware that they're there now because they have to get. They had a 2-minute window, I think,
in between tunnels.
So they had so much time. At a certain point, they just had to book it and go. But and they basically get back to the end, and they still have a cell phone. And baseball guy calls a girlfriend girl, I don't know her name, and says we're coming back.
We sound like we don't know anything.
That's the best part of this whole situation. South Korean film. I'm sorry. But we're describing it the best we can. I hope that people get the fact that we love this movie. It's not just
please see it.
Please see it. It's awesome.
This movie.
Yes.
And I don't even just say that as go see.
I sincerely hope they paused and watched it.
Yeah, go watch it now. It's not like I'm saying go watch a movie like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which is cool but campy. Mm-hmm. Go watch this movie because it's a really good movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's a different thing. Don't just sit there on you could sit there on Halloween night and watch it. That's great. That's great. You could do that.
It's a by the numbers zombie movie. It's just that all the numbers are perfect.
Up to 10.
They're flawless.
It's really good. So they get the phone call, and by this point, the villain of the antagonist of the film has been building up this this mob mentality between the survivors. So basically, this guy figures out they're coming back and decides to lock the door. Mm-hmm. So they take their really strong garments and they tie the doors shut, or they attempt to. They see the survivors running, and they get to the door, and basically they're just not. They can't get in. And really cool guy, forget his name. He heroically sacrifices.
Oh, Mr. Muscles.
Mr. Muscles. He basically holds the door shut.
Yeah.
In a heroic effort of just you see the moment where it he's holding the door shut with the help from Douche Guy. Mm-hmm. Douche Dad is his name.
Douche Dad.
Douche Dad. And he's just he's struggling, they're not getting in, and then you see him get bit on.
Yeah.
Which is just you're like
no.
And the thing is a little bit of like taking me out of the movie a little bit there. It with almost every other character got bit, the transformation was real fast.
Oh yeah.
It was within like 10 seconds, and this was drawn out a little bit for sure.
Oh yeah, they did that intentionally. You could tell.
Well, you had to give me.
There are like 4 characters who get like an hour-long transformation.
Yeah,
there's
you can tell.
There's the woman who climbs on the train at the very beginning of the movie, like our patient zero for our purposes.
She got a long way. Yeah.
There's Mr. Muscles. There's the CEO scumbag. Who gets
that was. That was bullshit. that guy legitimately was like a zombie, but he still had his consciousness.
I know, he was like coherent and everything.
And our protagonist all get like the longest transformation, and it's fine.
Which is fine. They
all
all
done well.
Yeah.
But compared to like everyone else, it's like 10 seconds.
10
boom,
seconds. They do the
zombie.
deer thing. They pop up.
Yeah.
But yeah, he gets bit on the hand. It's crazy, and he toxifies himself by lumberjack carrying a zombie and just holding them off. And then he turns to his wife and says the name of this child, which is a running statement throughout the film.
Yeah.
And they get in, because of course that's what happens in movies like this. Mm-hmm. And
despite how strong those garments were. We'll talk about those in a minute. So they get in there. They mob mentality is basically said, you guys can't stay with us. We think you're infected. Mm-hmm. The guy knows they're not infected. He's turned the mob on them and said, you guys got to go to the front of the train. You got to stay in there. We'll stay in here. Lock him in the front of the train. So just the conductor will die, I guess. Very, very wasn't the conductor like locked into the locked into his booth?
He was locked
into
the
booth. If I remember correctly, he was just like this doesn't open until we're there.
Yeah, I get.
Lucky him, I guess.
Not so lucky him.
Well, lucky for a while.
Lucky he had a good run until the train tracks caught him. Then, damn CEO guy. But they are isolated at the front of the train, and then here comes scene where they get what's coming to them, and the mob mentality plot line comes to an end, where the one person with a conscience still turns on them because that's the right thing. It's not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Talking about the old lady?
Old lady, yeah. The old lady now. So that's the conscience of the viewers getting what they deserve, basically. Mm-hmm. And, the villains getting what they deserve. Except for that sumbitch.
That one.
Except for that sumbitch he's in a bathroom. Doesn't die with his conductor friend. And that was a turn. I kind of thought they were going to die right there.
Yeah, that's what I thought,
and that would have been like poetic justice.
Yeah.
It would have been great and fine. And then they, the rest of the movie kind of plays out as you would kind of expect it to. They're trying to get to the greener grasses on the other side. Mm-hmm. They get to Busan, and there's a whole train crash sequence where we do meet the end of the
our drifter friend
who
he sacrificed
himself. It's kind of crazy. Like 2 trains didn't crush all these people.
Yeah.
Perfectly up in a cinematic. Perfect thing there, but
it made for a lovely set.
It did make for a lovely set that it seemed very expensive, to be honest. We're gonna buy 2 trains and just destroy them.
Look, if you got 2 trains, might as well just smash them together.
That's true. You might as well. So, the drifter friend goes away, and then we figure out that I guess this guy's trapped in a bathroom, and the conductor can't find a way to the next train. Then he finds a way to the next train. I don't know why I'm talking about the whole plot, but eventually they get to Busan, right? And it's a final showdown, as is with most films. Antagonist Douche Dad against villainous corporate billionaire. In a sad scene where, corporate billionaire does meet his ends, which is...
They humanized the villain.
Yeah, they did a thing right at the end, which
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I enjoyed it.
Well, I mean, no character was more consistent than the scummy CEO. He literally was introduced being like, I have to get to Busan, right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And having his final words be like, I have to get to Busan because of my mom was was super dope.
Yeah, it was really refreshing because they built him up so well to be this douchey guy, and I really like when movies can find the humanization of an antagonist like that.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for a second at the end. In Mecha Crazy Zombie, where he had full consciousness somehow.
A more cynical view would be it's kind of cheap to have him be like, no, I'm just trying to save my mom or whatever. But it felt so good to have a good reason for him to be such a self-serving asshole.
Yeah, and once again, there's a lot of things in this movie that could have came off
yeah.
But the movie earned it earned it once again. It earned the right to do that little line, which moved people. It didn't move people, but it added this extra element.
It moved me.
Shut your mouth. No, it didn't. And then there's a very, very touchy scene at the end of the film when our main protagonist, Douche Dad,
no longer Douche Dad.
No, he has become undouched.
He's transcended douchedom.
He's transcended the douchery of it all. On the train to you already used Buscemi. I can't think of it anymore. Just in case you guys
should I have saved the gold for the end of the show?
Belichick. Turn to Belichick. Bring some sports into this one. Just in case you guys are wondering, the name of the character of the Drifter was Homeless Man.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, Homeless Man. He didn't even get a name.
That's wow.
He didn't even get a freaking name.
You know what? Fine. He didn't need one.
No, he didn't. He was great.
He was one of our heroes, and he didn't need a name. He was just that guy you could rely on eventually.
And the name of the following conductor guy was Train Team Leader. So I don't really know. They didn't give everybody names. It's fine.
Yeah.
You don't always give all your NPC names. You just kind of go with it. But all in all, the end of the movie, they kind of get to a place where it could have gone one way or another. I could have seen it going full Dawn of the Dead. You get to the island and it's just straight up overrun.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, your dog is dead. It shouldn't have ran in there. In the touching scene where basically they walk into this military camp, which they're all alive still, which is real nice. Mm. And the thing that saves them is the song that the daughter sings for her dad. Yeah. Who basically had an entire plot storyline itself between the relationship between the father and the daughter. Mm-hmm. And it was a nice wrap of it all up right there. And all in all, like I said, Train to whatever. I can't think of the name. On the fly.
Train to Baba Booey.
Train to Baba Booey. It is a movie that I highly recommend. I think this movie, the fact that I hadn't heard anything about it is why I'm so passionate to talk about this movie right now. Because I think people should talk about this movie. In the Western audiences, people should be seeing this movie over... There's a movie coming out this week that I'll do a review on, not because I want to, called The Countdown, which is like an STX film about this woman gets an app and tells her she's dying in 3 days, and there's a boogeyman. There's movies like that people will, in the Western audience, will go out and see. Mm-hmm. Whereas there's also films like this scattered throughout all cultures. It is not just South Korea that puts out horror films that are fantastic. China puts out a lot of great films. You look at a lot of our current... I guess they're not current now, but you look at our franchises right now with The Ring, The Grudge, all these... I don't know. I'm not sure exactly where they came from. They're more of the Asian countries over there, though. Yeah. All that lore, right? Mm-hmm. So it's really cool to see a movie like Train to... I'm going to go with Buscemi this time because I think that was the winner of the day. Yeah. It's great to see movies like this, and I highly recommend to go out and watch it. Chelsea, do you have anything else to say about Train to Buscemi?
Pretty much to piggyback off you, I highly recommend this movie as well. I will admit, I did find the first 30 minutes a bit slow when they were trying to, I guess, build up essentially, which, it was needed because they had to kind of level out before the absurdity happened.
Yeah, there was a good part of the movie where you just didn't really like anybody.
Yeah, I was like, I don't like anyone.
Like, I don't like the main character. The daughters kind of smile me up a little bit.
Yeah.
This douchebag billionaire guy is annoying.
Mm.
Like,
even Mr. Muscles wasn't great in his his first scene.
how did we meet Mr. Muscles again?
He was outside the bathroom because his wife was like, she was.
Oh,
and he like shooed the girl away.
It's not what I thought it was at all. I thought somebody was like getting what's it's the Mile High Club, and what's the train club? Is it like the bottom level club?
I have no idea.
I thought something like that was happening in there, and he was like a bodyguard. It just it's great. It was cool to see. It was just his wife.
Yeah. It was just his wife.
Yeah.
No, but I highly recommend it. I was recommended by a friend a few years ago, but I didn't watch it until now. And kind of like what we were saying, it does in a lot of ways play on like so many of like the tropes we've seen in zombie movies, but it executes them so well that I thought it was just really, really well done. And I definitely want to see it again, and I do recommend it, definitely.
Drake, anything to say on this film?
So, okay.
There's
so
what
gloves
happens?
we didn't talk about this at all, but
there's so many scenes.
There's a line, or rather, the company that Douche Dad works for, or whatever, is funding the company, like the research lab that caused the outbreak.
Yeah.
And there's like a whole dramatic sequence where he's in a bathroom covered in blood, and he's talking to one of his subordinates who's like, "We caused this, right? Did we do this?" Mm-hmm. And he's like, and just like I think he just like hangs up. He's just like, "No, we're fine," and hangs up, and then literally washes blood off of his hands in a scene that I was like, I should hate this so much. That's too direct. That's so on the nose. Mm-hmm. Why are you doing this? Fuck you. Mm-hmm. But I was just like, there were like cartoon stars coming out of my eyes. I was like, this is fantastic. Mm-hmm. It shot the moon from being like too on the nose to like actually just wrapping around to being cool again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was a real scene of humanity, which was really, really cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it very well could have gone one way or another.
Yeah.
But I can't believe I forgot that scene. It's a it's one of the realest scenes for sure in the whole movie. Realistically,
it's almost too much, or maybe it is so much that it's not. That it's like fine. Yeah. I cannot decide.
Can't figure it out. I now that I think about it, I think like the voice of the guy on the phone coming to the realization what might be going on in a real sense of like moment of humanity. I kind of see that might be where Douche Dad kind of had a different turn for me for sure. But yeah, I enjoyed the scene.
I also really enjoy the fact that like, okay, like season 2 of The Walking Dead is garbage, and really most of The Walking Dead is garbage. But there, like that whole scene is, or I mean, that whole season is, like you have Rick, and then on he's got like an angel and devil thing on his shoulder. Like he's got Dale and he's got Shane, and they're both like two sides of Rick, kind of like having shit out. And like for Train to Busan, they're like Douche Dad has the CEO side is his more like selfish side, as he straight up abandons a couple of people in the first stop
for sure, yeah.
And he basically is just walking the same path or whatever as that guy, and is only pulled out of it by Mr. Muscles. And it's like we are just seeing that trope again of like of character is kind of reactionary and just or not reactionary but passive, and has these two influences working on him, and ultimately of course the good side wins out. But like when I realized that the evil CEO guy was just the logical conclusion of Douche Dad's current state of mind was incredible.
Yeah, that's definitely something I saw throughout as well.
Yeah, I love it.
It's great.
I love the movie.
Great movie. Anyway, guys, well, this is probably the longest roundtable that we are going to do, but this is also, I think, the movie with the most, I overused the word gravitas, but, like, it's got the most to it, moving parts-wise, the most technical aspects to it. It's not, we're doing a lot of cult classics and stuff like that, but this one's a very well-made movie. Go out and check it out. Thank you for checking us out on the AfterTaste show today. Check us out tomorrow for another episode of this Halloween Roundtable, and thank you so much for listening.